Hello and welcome back to the Bro Nuts.
In this video we're going to show you how to plasti dip some wheels on this C63 AMG. So you might be wondering, well, why do you want to change those wonderful wheels?
So this is my car, and normally over winter, just because of the power that it's got, I tend to put winter tyres on. And the tyres that are recommended for the car in winter are actually narrower, so I have a separate set of wheels that go on the car. And this year, rather than just put these back on, I thought I'd try and do something a bit different, try and make the car look slightly different as well. And that's where this idea came from.
So how are you going to make it look different this year?
So what we're going to do is plasti dip the wheels, and that's basically like a rubber coating that goes on top. It's not permanent, so you can also take it off, which I think is quite good because, like I said, these are only going to be on the car from probably December till March.
So what colour are we going to change the wheels to?
So I have a can of black Plasti Dip here, and what you might know about this is that it tends to have a matte finish. So as well as that, we've also got some Glossifier, and what this does is it sits on top of the rubber and just gives it a bit more of a shiny finish, so hopefully it will look gloss black once it's done.
Okay, so should we show them how to do it?
Let's do it.
So these are the winter wheels, and these are actually 18 inches versus the 19 that are on the car, and they've got slightly higher profile, which makes the car a little bit more comfortable, smooth and less crashy. And well, why did you want to change them to black?
So I had these on obviously last winter and the winter before, and I do quite like how they look, but what I really like about the existing 19s is how they complement the chrome trim on the car. This year I thought we'd do something a bit different. We'll get the wheels changed to black, and we'll also wrap some of this chrome trim as well, so that's also black and it kind of matches the wheels. I just wanted to see what it looks like and do it in a way that can be kind of temporary and removed if I don't like it, because the chances are, you know, I might put it on and not like it, and I don't want it to be permanent.
Yeah, and with the chrome trim, what we'll do is we'll wrap that, and we'll show you that in another video to see what the whole car looks like when it's all blacked out.
We'll walk you through the whole process. To start with, I've just cleaned the wheels, so I just washed them. I've clay barred as well, just to remove some of the dirt. I think these are the cleanest these wheels have actually ever been. So I'll show you the next steps and get it ready to paint.
Well, that does sound really fun, but as we said, it's quite cold, so I'm going to leave you to it.
So I'm just quickly putting some tyre dressing on the edge of the tyre next to the wheel, careful not to get it on the alloy. And what I hope this will do is help me peel the rubber off the Plasti Dip, because what I will do is I'll mask the tyre from about here, leaving a bit of a gap, and that just means that the Plasti Dip will go right into the edges of the wheel, into the rim, and then hopefully the bit that's on the rubber will be able to peel off quite easily. I have put the tyre dressing on, and I've got a few other bits, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to mask the rubber off, and I've got some plastic as well, just so I don't get any overspray. And then I've got some surface prep spray, so this is just IPA, any kind of alcohol solution, which is okay for paint, and we'll put that on, and that just means that any grease or anything like that will be clean, and the Plasti Dip will stick a lot better to the wheels. What I've just found is that the masking tape doesn't actually stick well to the tyre dressing that we put on, so I guess that's a good thing, because hopefully that means the Plasti Dip won't stick either. But what I've done is basically put big strips of masking tape all the way to the edge of the tyre, and then put the plastic on top just to cover the rest of it. So this way it kind of stays on, and you can see I've done one, and I've now got the other three to go. So anyone who's ever driven one of these C63s, especially the older one with the 6.2 litre engine, probably knows that they do have a tendency to not be able to put the power down well, and in winter that's especially noticeable. And I found, you know, the tyres tend to slip a lot, especially if you're pulling out into a fast road or anything like that. So that's one of the reasons that I always put the winter tyres on. I think Jeremy Clarkson actually famously compared the C63 to an axe murderer with headlights, so I think that says it all really. Okay, so these are all masked off and ready for paint. The next thing I need to do is, because it is quite cold out here, is I'll be putting the cans of Plasti Dip inside a bucket filled with warm water, and we'll be able to use that to warm the paint up just so that it comes out a bit easier. So I've masked off all 4 wheels, and I've taken the surface cleaner as well, the IPA, and just basically wiped all of the metal surface to take off any grease or contaminants. And then I've got my cans of Plasti Dip, and what you'll see is I've labelled each of these. So that's 1, and there's 4 black cans, so there's 1 can of colour for each of the wheels, and there's only 2 of the clear ones, so there'll be 1 of these between 2 wheels. And what we want to do is basically use a whole can per wheel, so it should get about 5 or 6 coats, and then about 2 or 3 coats of the clear as well. I've just left the paint in the warm water for a bit, and you can feel that it's warmed up, and what that will help do is just make sure that there's no lumps or anything, and that it sprays nice and freely. In order to help with that, I've also got a spray handle, so this will basically sit on the can and just allow me to get a nice even covering, hopefully, on each of the wheels. So now that these are hot, I'm going to go ahead and shake them up and then get ready to paint. Okay, so I've shaken the cans up and I've got them all lined out ready to spray the wheels. For the first coat, what you want to do is basically hold the can about 6 or 10 inches away from the wheel, and then move it in smooth motions like that, so that you're overlapping the paint. With the very first coat, what you want is a thin, almost a mist coat on there, and that helps the other coats to stick. So what you don't want to do is put on a really heavy first coat, because then it might start to peel off. I've left the first coat to dry, so it's been about 10-15 minutes, all seems fine. With the next few coats, what you want to do is get a lot more coverage, so you're not seeing the silver. And like I said, it should take about 5, maybe 6 coats out of a can per tyre. And we want to make sure that we're covering in each of these areas. One of the reasons I've propped the wheels up like this is so that your can stays flat, because you don't want to be spraying like this, or like upside down or anything like that. So it just helps with that, and like I said, I'll probably rotate the wheels halfway through just to make sure that I'm not missing any bits. So time to carry on. You can see that as the second coat's drying, it's starting to look a lot more matte, so there's less of the shiny finish, and you can probably tell when it's ready to repaint by when it's all kind of matte. So like I said, it's quite cold out here, so I'm probably going to leave it a bit longer. It's been about 10 minutes. I'll probably maybe give it another 10 minutes and see what it looks like. So another close-up, and what you can notice is the front face is obviously Plasti Dipped, so it's black. But inside, to the barrel of the wheel, is still silver. I'm hoping that you won't see that when it's on the car. I don't really want to paint the inside of the wheels with Plasti Dip, and my main reason for that is that with the 18-inch wheels, the brake rotors sit really close to them, and with the heat, I don't really want anything to come off or get stuck in the brakes. Okay, so we're just putting the third coat on now. Again, remember, nice thick coat, and just make sure you cover everything. I've now done 4 coats in total, so I'm on the 5th coat at the moment, and I'm just going to give a bit of a close-up so you can see what it looks like when it's put on, and kind of the thickness as well. So the can feels quite light, and I think this might be the last one, as it's probably going to run out once I've done this one. So again, same kind of distance, keep the can moving, and you just want to get a nice thick but even coverage on there, and just make sure that you go over all the bits and just point the gun or the spray can into all the corners. It's a lot darker and colder than it was earlier. Hopefully you can still see this, but basically the finish now is completely smooth. All of the cans ran out, so I made sure on that last coat that everything was completely covered, completely wet. And next we're going to move on to the Glossifier. So again, you can let the Plasti Dip completely cure before putting this on, or you can recoat once it's been about 10 or 15 minutes. I've left it about half an hour just because it's quite cold out here. After one coat of the Glossifier, the wheels have now dried to a nice shiny finish. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give them another coat. I did notice there's a couple of runs in the gloss, and I don't know if that's just from putting maybe slightly too much on, or it might be because it's taking slightly longer to dry because of the cold. So with my second coat, I'm just going to go a little bit lighter and hopefully get the finish that I'm looking for. So we're here at 3 coats of Glossifier later. And there's a nice shiny finish, and what I'm going to do now is just uncover this wheel. Hopefully the rubber around the edge will be able to kind of peel away because of that tyre dressing that we put on earlier. So let's give it a go and see what happens. Okay, so you can see it has started to come away, and actually all of that top section has come off by itself. As I'm pulling, yeah, there you go, it's coming away quite nicely. So once I've got this one off, I'm just going to bring the wheels somewhere where they can be left to dry overnight, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to show you what they look like. Okay guys, we're back outside. It's another cold day, but it's a little bit brighter, so hopefully you can see exactly what the end result looks like. In the end I did 6 coats of Plasti Dip and 3 coats of Glossifier. You can see it's no longer got that flat matte finish, so the Glossifier has really helped to enhance that look. And apparently if you do more coats of Glossifier, it gets even glossier. Like you saw, it was a pretty simple job. I've never used Plasti Dip before, so considering that it's such an easy DIY, I'm really happy with how it's turned out. There's a couple of little bits which I'll show you close up, and maybe things that I would have done differently. If you look closely, you can see that the Glossifier has actually started to drip in a couple of places, and I think the reason for this is actually just because it was getting quite cold last night when I was doing the wheels. So if I were to do them again, I'd probably do them either on a warmer day or maybe keep the wheels inside when doing the gloss. If you look closely, you can see that the wheels do have a little bit of curb rash. The Plasti Dip doesn't really cover that up, but hopefully it seems to have stuck pretty well, and hopefully it's still hard wearing over those bits. So for the most part, the finish is actually really good. It's smooth and even, but there's a couple of bits. So if you look down here, you can see inside this part of the wheel there's a slight textured finish. It's all covered, but it just means that the paint hasn't gone on quite as evenly as the rest of the wheel. You don't notice it unless you look really close, but that's something where you've just got to make sure that you put a nice thick even coat of Plasti Dip on. Now though, what I'll do is I'll get H-Jan out here because he's not actually seen the wheels yet, and we'll see what he thinks. So H-Jan, what do you think?
Well, it definitely looks much more aggressive. I think it'd be really interesting to see when the trim is a bit more blacked out, but I don't think I personally would do it.
Yeah, it definitely looks more aggressive, and the whole idea was just to change what it looks like for winter. So the main thing that I'm happy with is obviously it can go back to normal afterwards. With the trim, we're going to vinyl wrap those, so we'll do those in another video, and again we'll be able to put those back when the normal wheels are on as well.
How long do you think the paint will last on the wheels?
I've got no idea, but hopefully it lasts winter.
Yeah, be an experiment for us and we can keep you updated.
Yeah, so the wheels aren't actually on the car yet. We'll put those on in the next video and show you exactly how it looks with the wheels and the trim. The old wheels actually have a bit of rubber left on, so I think we're just going to go burn those off and then get the new ones on.
Sounds good.
We hope you enjoyed this video and saw just how easy it was to Plasti Dip the wheels on the car. It'll be really interesting to see how they hold up, and we'll keep you guys updated in the future videos.
If you liked the video, or even if you didn't, please do hit that like button, subscribe to us and share it with all of your friends.
Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you've got any ideas, suggestions or anything else that you want to see, again, just let us know in the comments, and we'll
See you in the next one.